Hello, welcome to week 2 of our class. I'd like to show you a few things to clear up any questions some students have had and to help those who just added come up to speed. So obviously the first thing you've done is taken the course entry quiz. If you do not take that by the 16th, the system drops you from the class automatically. I'm not going to go through all these things. I'm not even going to read it, so if I'm selecting the wrong answer, forgive me. You, of course, need to read it and take it seriously, but I'm just doing this to go through to get to our lessons. So I've taken the course entry quiz, and I failed it miserably. And then I need to take this FERPA Release and Academic Honesty Agreement quiz. And it's not actually a quiz. It requires 2 signatures. The first signature allows permission for us to talk about grades and exchange graded materials electronically. So I will be grading your unit tests that are taken in the proctoring center. I'll be grading those by hand, scanning them in, and emailing them to you. So this allows me to do that. And then question 2 is your statement that you have read the Academic Honesty Agreement. You know that academic honesty means that you do not present others' work as your own, and you do not give your work to others to present as their own. So please sign both of those boxes. I'm having issues with getting back to our course from there. And now notice that the lessons still don't display because the last thing we need to do, as it says in this with this big old arrow at the front of the class, is we have to go through the Getting Started material. So you can refer to this material throughout the course when you need a refresher on some of the workings of the course. Notice that you can click directly to an item through this table of contents. You need to carefully read through each item and then click this icon marked Reviewed down here. So this first item is important. It tells you to check your email daily, your Wake Tech email daily. It's the only way I can really communicate with you. That you realize that 15 hours per week are required on this course. And you can see the schedule of instruction by going to this Google Calendar button here. This next section discusses books and software and WebAssign. The lab manual is attached. We've been using that for discussion boards already. It tells you how to purchase WebAssign and about our ebook. So you mark Reviewed there. So go through all these areas and read them so you know about attendance and quizzes. Attendance is, as you know, taken via discussion boards. There'll be 2 attendance discussion boards per week. Unless it's a test week, then there'll just be 1. One of them is graded and there's a rubric. You've already seen that in the week 1 attendance 2 discussion board, which, by the way, I'm not grading the first week's discussion boards. That's for you to get acclimated. So please go through all this. The last item are the grades. It tells you how things are broken down. Notice the discussion boards are 12% of the grade, so please take them seriously. They're meant to help you to see how other students do things and to get help for yourself. Our WebAssign quizzes are worth 10% of the grade, so those are also big. So I'll mark that as reviewed. So now that I've gone through all those things, I should be able to see the lessons. So the weekly checklist tells you everything you need to know that you need to do for the week corresponding to that folder. Notice that there are 2 folders for interpreting graphs. Unfortunately, I forgot to get rid of this one that says complete homework and WebAssign because people were looking for a WebAssign link in this first folder. But there's really not a WebAssign assignment for that. There is a WebAssign assignment for this second folder's worth. So I apologize for that. Some people could not find the WebAssign link because they were looking in that first folder. A Desmos tutorial, an explanation of how things work with the lab manuals, etc. So as I said, I'll jump here to Interpreting Graphs. And this is the first place we're going to see a WebAssign link. There will be a WebAssign link in almost every folder. This was basically the only exception, I believe. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. And since I'm a student in the Blackboard class right now, WebAssign thinks I'm a student. So let me enlarge the screen here. So these are the current assignments that are due. Notice that week 1 assignments aren't showing up here because they were due yesterday or last night at 11:59 p.m. And these are the new assignments that are due for the week. The lab manual was attached to that second item in the Getting Started materials. And this is where we take our discussion board material from. And then the discussion boards I'll talk about in a little bit more detail in another video, but you'll find them under the collaboration. And please read the descriptions up here of how you need to form your subject when you add a discussion board post. And notice the rubric and what the requirements are for a discussion board post and how many points you'll get. So I'll continue more on the discussion boards in another video.